I also wanted to take a second look at number 19D. So for 19D, you're looking for the probability that you want to select minority candidate number 1. So if I were to set up in a tree diagram, here's candidate number 1, here's candidate number 2, and then candidate number 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, I'm going to assign candidate number 1 to be a minority. Okay, now it doesn't matter that candidate number 2 is also minority, and candidate number 3 is also minority, and candidate number 4 is also minority. So that doesn't matter. I want to know my probability of having minority candidate number 1. It can be either the first applicant or the second applicant. I really don't care. So my first applicant, let's say my first applicant is minority number 1. Then my second applicant can be 1, 2, excuse me, not 1, because I already selected 1. So my second candidate can be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Okay? So all of these options will let me select minority number 1. Okay, and there's 5 of those. Now, if let's say the first applicant I select is minority number 2, then my second can be either 1, I've already selected 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Well, how many of these options give me minority number 1? This one does. So I have 1 here. Now, as you can see, it's going to be the same no matter. I have minority number 1 here, and then I'm going to have 1 here, and 1 here, and 1 here. So how many different ways is that? Well, it's 6 times 5. Counting principle tells me 6 times 5. I have a total of 30 outcomes here. So out of my 30 outcomes, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ways to get minority number 1 as my candidate. So that's going to be 10 out of 30, which is 1/3. So looking at the numbers, per se, I'm looking at, first of all, 1/6, because there's one way to choose minority number 1 out of the 6 possible candidates. And then all 5 of these options for this gives me minority number 1 as an option. Okay, so that's going to be 5 out of 30. Plus, I also have 5, 6, which is the number of candidates I have left to choose from. If I were to choose one of these others first, I have 5 of those. And then of each of those, I have 1/5 probability for each of those options. So numbers-wise, if you want to look at it this way, you're going to wind up with 1/3.